Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Shanty Sessions 32. I'm Stephen and this is Paul. How are you all doing? Let us know, won't you? Give us some comments. We had a few already, in fact. So Paul is going to check those out. Hope you're doing okay. Look, we want to know lockdown 2, at least in the UK, and certainly other countries have maybe had more. But lockdown 2, we want to know. Lockdown has got me like, and then you put the word in. Okay, not a rude word, obviously, but let us know, won't you? Anyway, this is 30-second Shanty Sessions live stream that has been going on really since the first lockdown. 17th of March was the first one we did in response to the government saying you can't go out, you can't mix, you can't be with other people. So we switched our rehearsals online and they became virtual rehearsals. And we just want to say thank you very much, really, to not only our faithful Rogues Shanty Chorus members, but also kind of honorary members that we've picked up along the way. We've got wonderful people following us everywhere, really, in Canada and Poland particularly, but also some other countries too. So thank you very much, and hope that you are also doing very well in your respective countries with the various restrictions that I'm sure you're facing because of coronavirus. Now, what have we got for you tonight? Well, being that tomorrow is Remembrance Day, we've kind of gone with a theme of naval songs. And so we've got a few of those lined up our sleeves, but also a couple of curveballs. And we've got our first guest that we've had in, I don't know, what is it, 6 weeks?
Something like that.
We haven't had a guest in a long time, based on a little bit of feedback, really. A few people said we love the guests, but it does mean that there's not so much time for songs. So that coincided with various people we're inviting to come on not replying to us. And we thought, well, we'll just leave it for a little while then. But we did have guests. We had guests from Canada and Spain and America and Germany and I don't know, everywhere, England as well, also England. And we were having them on a weekly basis. So it's been quite a while, and we have got a wonderful guest for you this evening. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. Well, right now, I guess, since Paul's put that on. A lot of you guys will know Sean Warboys, wonderful musician, local guy, lived in America for a long while. He can tell you more about that. But he's also a songwriter, and he's written a song called The Grit quite a while ago now. In fact, he shared it in one of our shows, and we happen to know that a lot of our number are big fans of his. So he's going to join us. We're going to have a chat to him about what lockdown and COVID has meant to him and how it's inconvenienced him. And also, hopefully, he's going to treat us to his song, The Grit, and maybe a cover of a traditional song. So that's upcoming. What else is upcoming, Paul?
Well, we have our...
Paul is not shorter than me. It's
I
just
am a little
he's
bit.
Sitting down.
We have our weekly or fortnightly section called How You Heard It, Boy?
Yeah.
In which we ask, how you heard it, boy?
Exactly. And that is based on a wonderful book that we have by Edward Moore, printed in 1823, called Suffolk Words and Phrases. And we choose a word at random every week. And I say at random, we deliberately choose one that we don't think is in common parlance. And we ask you to guess what it means. And it's difficult to guess what it means because they're not in common parlance. But this week's word is either Yalen or Yarlan. We don't give you any help with the pronunciation, but let us know what you think it might mean. Have a guess. You can be funny, you can be cheeky, you can be serious, whatever you want, but you don't win anything whether or not you get it right.
Yalen.
Yarlan.
Yalen.
Yarlan.
Yalen.
So anyway, there you go. Love to know that you're tuning in and checking in with us. So let us know, because we're going to do some comments, I think, and then we're just going to kick straight off with some songs because we've been talking already now. My gosh.
So Carly Franklin says, "Evening, Stephen, Paul, and everyone," from Carly Cathy.
Hello, Carly Cathy.
"Evening, everyone," says Linda Boyce. "Hope you are all well."
Hello, Linda.
Sally Hardman says, "Hello, Carly." Oh, well, that's nice. Hope you're keeping well. And the Drapers say, "Evening all."
Hello, Jackie and Barry.
Rosemary says, "Hi, everyone," and a little anchor at the end.
And
then Hazel Rumble, one of our newer members, she's been tuning in for quite a while now, but she says evening all. And Michelle Gallagher says good evening, everyone.
Hi, Michelle.
Who else do we have? We have our Canadian correspondent, Marion Bouchette.
Ooh.
Hi, everyone. We're also on our second lockdown here and expecting our first snowfall this week.
Oh, lovely.
A little known fact that the Germans call the snowfall Schneefall.
There you go.
And now we've got a guess already. Linda says, is yelling to mean shouting or yelling?
That's a good guess,
I like
Linda.
That's very close to the kind of thing that dear old Edward Moore would suggest.
Exactly, yeah, because I think you're picking up on some of his previous words and colloquialisms there, Linda, because often he recorded words correctly, not just him deciding to do it, but he recorded words as they were sounded, particularly sounded with a Suffolk accent. So that sounds very plausible. That's not any kind of hint that you're correct necessarily, but it certainly sounds plausible, according to dear old Edward. So keep the guesses coming, though, won't you?
Claire Garrett says Paul's probably about the same height as me tonight. Only you could be rude about yourself. Pat Briggs says, lovely to be you this evening. I think he means lovely to be with you. It's lovely to have you with us, Pat.
Yeah, it is.
And it's also lovely to have Anne Benz with us from the top of the show. Hello, everyone. Best wishes, Anne.
Yeah, well, hello, Anne. And lovely to see that you're able to join us. So thank you very much for doing so.
Carol Fisher, evening all, smiley face. Evening, Carol. And Melanie Joy, again, one of our newer rogues online. Evening. Good evening, Melanie. Nice to know you're there as well.
And Paul saying Carol commented evening all smiley face. That's not what she put. Yeah. That's just his description of an emoji. That's not some kind of nickname she's got for Paul or anything. Anyway, look, Paul's just flashed up our details, shanties.co.uk/choir. That's really where you can find out more about us. But really, the best way to find out about us is to tune in, as you are doing. We have got on that page just the most recent announcement that although we managed to actually sneak in I shouldn't say sneak, we did it legally, we did it very appropriately, although we managed to have 2 rehearsals, the government obviously through the national UK lockdown means that we can no longer rehearse until at least December, quite possibly January or even beyond that. So watch this space and we will announce it also on our website when we're able to continue and recommence rehearsals. But in the meantime, any other information that you might want or need is either here on Facebook or YouTube, depending on which one you're watching and tuning in on. Should we do a song?
This one or?
No.
Not this one or not or?
I think or.
Yeah, so how about we go for one? As Stephen said, these are all naval related or sung by the Royal Navy at some point. This one is number 5 in everybody's folder. If you have a folder, it's Sam's Gone Away, number 5 in our repertoire.
I'm going to do a little swappy with him because I can activate the...
If you don't have a folder with this in, then all you need to do is read the lyrics as they'll appear on the screen. And we're going to launch straight into it. Please let us know you're singing along at home.
Oh, that's a harmonica. Okay. I wish I was a cabin boy aboard a man of war.
Oh, Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. I wish I was the bosun aboard a man of war. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war.
Well, I wish I was a gunner aboard a man of war.
Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. I wish I was the captain aboard a man of war.
Yep.
Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war.
I'm glad I'm not a maiden aboard a man of war.
Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. You'll never be a hero aboard a man of war.
Timmy!
Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war. Pretty work, brave boys, pretty work, I say. Sam's gone away aboard a man of war.
Sam gone away aboard a man of war, and that was actually collected for the wider world, particularly for America and England, by Jack Stanisco, who was working for the Peace Corps in 1971, and he heard it on St. Vincent's Island, sung by the native fishermen, sung as a work song by them, but also as a pastime song, or certainly as us Brits would know as a forecastle song, named after the forecastle, the highest part of the ship.
And what really could be a better way to spread peace than to sing?
Absolutely, yeah. I can't think of any better way, really.
No, especially to sing sea shanties.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Couple of comments here. Sandra says, hello, everyone. Good to hear there is a lot of our shanty choir listening. Hello, Ivy. Glad you're listening. Ivy is a Kessel and WI member with some of us. Wonderful. Well, that's good to know. And Sally sings, I wish I was a cook aboard a man of war.
Well, sorry, Sally, we cut you off there, didn't we?
Yeah.
We cut off the killick as well, which can be very painful.
Yeah. A killick, by the way, now and again we do. Paul might be able to grab our Sailor's Word Book on the shelf there, which has something like, 300,000 nautical and maritime terms explained, and many of them are used in everyday language today, and they came from sailors and fishermen. And a killick, by the way, is an improvised anchor. Usually made when occasion was desperate, obviously, and usually only for smaller boats it would be effective. But a killick would have been improvised with bits of rope and wood or metal or anything really that was certainly heavy enough and could be bound using rope to improvise an anchor. It was also a naval term, a ranking, but based on that word for an anchor.
And that was because the insignia of said rank had the symbol of the killick on the shoulder, I believe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna suggest we go back to How You Heard It, Boy, because we've only had one guest so far.
Yeah.
So what we'd like to know is How You Heard It, Boy, and the word we're asking if you heard it is Yalen.
It's Yarlin.
Yalen. How you heard that word?
Yeah, Len. Anyway, let's get back to some music, shall we?
We shall.
Yeah.
How about this is a song that was often sung long ago, usually in the early 19th century, right out of the southern and the southwestern area of Great Britain. And it sings a song about ladies.
Southland? Found my home before my kin?
I do miss my family once again. So it sings about Spanish ladies.
What are we on tonight? What are we on?
Now, I should just preface this with some words. Warship crews are much more numerous than merchant crews, far more than would be needed to sail a ship. On a typical frigate, 300 crew for a ship that you could sail with 30. So coordinated effort was not so much needed. Hence, the shanties were not often sung, and if they were sung, they weren't sung as work songs. On the occasions that it was needed, a coordinated effort, if available, could be used to play a hornpipe, or the marine drummer could be used. Discipline was also much tighter. If you look at some of the sea shanties sung, to see if the officers would have thought them appropriate. Officers usually came from a different class, and a very class-conscious society it was at the time. Sailors were encouraged to dance and sometimes to sing what have become known as forebitters, and such forebitter as Spanish ladies. Also, it was a little bit frowned upon, to be honest, that sailors, especially Royal Naval sailors, should need to be kept in rhythm by external means such as music. And for that reason, very few songs were sung to tasks. One exception being
What should we do with the drunken sailor? This was quite preferred due to its explanations of different punishments and disciplines that would be meted out. But Spanish Ladies was often sung by sailors, if not for work purposes.
I'm going to add to that and say, firstly, it's okay for the Navy to say that because they were often way more staffed than fishing ships or other sailing ships. But the other thing was that some men were often encouraged. They had something called SODS, the Ship's Operatic and Dramatic Society, and the naval SOD would men encouraged to dress up as ladies often, and
they didn't need much encouragement.
No, sing a song that was quite clearly written for a female. But the other thing I want to add to that is there's a quote, and I cannot remember who said it. Maybe we'll look through our notes and actually give them credit before the end of the session. But there's a quote about this song, which is one of my favorite about any song really, and it says, "Spanish Ladies." A song about which the homing instincts of the human heart, no sweeter song could ever be written, which is a lovely quote about any song, really. And this is our version of it, certainly tonight's version.
It's number 19 in the folders, if you have one. If you don't have a copy of Spanish Ladies,
don't worry about it.
It's on the screen right now. Farewell and adieu to you, Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu to you, ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail for old England, but we hope in a short time to see you again. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt sea until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues.
We hove our ship to with the wind from southwest, boys. We hove our ship to for to strike soundings clear. 'Twas 45 fathoms with a white sandy bottom, so we squared up our main yard and up channel did make. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt sea until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues.
First we sighted was called the Dodman, next Rainhead off Plymouth, then Portland and the White. We sailed by Beachy, by Fairlight and Dungeness, and then we bore up for the South Fallen Light. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt sea until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues. Then the signal was made for the Grand Fleet to anchor, and all in the Downs that night for to lie. Let go your shank painter, let go your cat stopper, haul up your klug harnets, let tacks and sheets fly. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt sea until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues. Now let every man drink off his full bumper. Let every man drink off his full glass. We'll drink and be jolly, and we'll drown melancholy. And here's to the health of each true-hearted lass. We'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors. We'll rant and we'll roar all on the salt sea until we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 35 leagues.
So there you have it. Look, and I've just got a few questions actually about that. One is, what's a shank painter? What's a clue garnet? And what's a cat stopper? And look, we mentioned this good old book here. I need to actually get it in the shot. The Sailor's Word Book by Admiral W.H. Smythe. I'm sure it's Smith, really, but they just wanted to sound posh. A shank painter is the stopper which confines the shank of the anchor to the ship's side and prevents the flukes from flying off the billboard. Where the billboard is not used, it bears the weight of the fluke end of the anchor. So basically the hole in the side of the ship that the anchor runs through steadily, and also controls controls the anchor going through. So as mentioned, it doesn't kind of cause any damage and break away the holder.
And a cat stopper is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cat head is a large wooden beam located on either side of the bow of a sailing ship, and then the cat stopper fastens the anchor to it. Clue garnet, a rope attaching to the clew of a sail, which is used to furl it.
I wondered if a cat stopper was something to do with like a whip or a.
It can be, yeah, cat and nine tails. They also mention that in this explanation, but yeah, it seems more likely to me.
Yeah,
that's attached to the cat head in regards to the anchor.
Okay, so a couple more comments now. Rosemary Balkit says, Elon, someone from Yarmouth, Norfolk, not Yarmouth, Norfolk, but Yarmouth, Norfolk.
As in, I think she means as in not Yarmouth on the Isle of Wight.
Yeah.
She means Great Yarmouth.
That's true, yeah. And speaking of which, although Michelle is not from Yarmouth, she gave 3 claps. And Claire Garrett's, she gave 4. Love that one. Thank you very much. Well, look, we're going to do maybe one or two more songs, and then we're going to very shortly, I think, is that all right, Paul? We're going to get our special.
We can see that Sean is backstage waiting for us. Hello to Sean. Thank you for joining us. Don't rush, mate. We'll be joining you shortly. And in the meantime,
we're furnishing him with champagne and blue M&Ms in our backstage area.
Yeah. Oh, you should see the debauchery going on back there.
His rider was something else.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and by rider. So there's a couple of songs we'd like to do before we welcome Sean on. One would be this, and one would be that.
One would be this, and one would be that.
Let's do that.
Well, let's. Can you pass my guitar? Oh, let's see if this tuned.
That sounds nice.
That's a no. That's a no. I will play it. Someone messaged asking if that was a uke. Well, no, this is a uke, and this is a great uke.
That's a lovely uke.
Yeah. This is actually a baritone guitar, or sometimes called a piccolo guitar, and it's lovely. It's not quite in tune, so I might tune and or open tuning tonight, but it's tuned differently so that you can use the same fingering as a normal guitar. So you can use bar chords, or stubby fingers don't always work, but it's lovely. It's an Ibanez, and when it is in tune, it sounds great, especially if someone else plays it and it's not me. But
well, tell you what, why don't you swap with me?
Okay.
While we get ourselves ready for this, we should take the time just to thank our funders and our sponsors, as it were, the lovely people at the People's Trust.
Yeah.
Now, they've been funding us as a project for well over a year. And when we went into the first lockdown, they made it so it was possible for us to continue our sessions, but online. And it meant that we could continue to engage with our wonderful Rogue Shanty chorus and the community as a whole. And we've actually grown that reach and increased delivery, which has been fantastic, and they've been supportive all the way, including supporting us to recommence those sessions at the Seagull Theatre in Lowestoft. Unfortunately, as Stephen said earlier, here we are again. Ooh, second lockdown and all that. But still, their support continues, making it possible for us to continue to engage with all of you lovely folk in the Rogue Shanty chorus and those that have been joining us along the way. Now, we're up to episode 32, and that doesn't include a couple of virtually backstage episodes that we've been doing as well.
No, exactly, yeah.
They've also continued to support the Lowestoft History Sessions, led by the wonderful local legend Ivan Bunn. We weren't able to bring that to you last night, but episode 20 will be with you next week. So it'll be slightly off schedule, but please join us for episode 20 Monday. Next week at the normal time, 7:30, Ivan's got a real ripper of a session for you, and we can't wait to bring it to you. So hopefully you'll join us next Monday.
Yeah. So with the next song that we're going to do, we found some information about this in the Round Folk Index, and it, by coincidence, it likens it to a song that we did last week, which was Johnny I Hardly Knew Ya, or Johnny I Hardly Knew Ye. It likened it to that song because it's an Irish folk song, and it's one that's about the opposition of war, and it's also one that's extremely graphic. we play this one for laughs usually, and actually there's many versions of Johnny I Hardly Knew Ye which are played for laughs. But when you actually look at the lyrics, and if you were to strip it down and do it as a ballad, which we may do, who knows, you think about it kind of brings home the stark brutality of war and conflict. And certainly lyrically, this would be like a PG-13, I think, or the equivalent of. But it's supposedly based on a true story, and I'm sure it could be based on any number of true stories. But it was set during the Peninsular War of the early 19th century, and it tells the story of a woman whose son enters the British Army and returns many years later, having lost both his legs to a cannonball. Anyway, I think we'll just give it a go. I'm just going to. We've got an alternative couple of versions, I think. So
we'll tack them on the end.
Yeah.
And just a reminder that all of our songs tonight, from Stephen and I, feature the theme of remembrance and Armistice Day. Armistice Day being tomorrow, of course. And all of these songs are either naval ballads or feature the theme of feature the naval theme.
Yeah. So
if you're looking for this in your folder, it's number 33. If you don't have a folder, you'll see it on the screen there.
My son John was tall and slim. He had a leg for every limb. But now he's got no legs at all. He ran a race with a cannonball. With me roo-rum-rah, faddle-diddle-dar, whack, faddle-diddle with me roo-rum-rah. For I was tall and I was slim, and I had a leg for every limb. But now I've got no legs at all. They were both shot away by a cannonball. With me roo-rum-rah, faddle-diddle-dar, whack, faddle-diddle with me roo-rum-rah. Oh, were you deaf? Oh, were you blind when you left a couple of legs behind? Or was it sailing on the sea, lost the two fine legs from the ground to the knee? With me roo-rum-rah, faddle-diddle-dar, whack, faddle-diddle with me roo-rum-rah. Oh, I was not drunk or neither blind when I left my two fine pins behind. When up came a bloody great cannonball, shot away misseabird skins and all. With me roo-rum-rah, faddle-diddle-dar, whack, faddle-diddle with me roo-rum-rah. My teddy boy, the widow cried, your two fine legs were your mother's pride. Stumps of a tree wouldn't do at all. Why didn't he run from the cannonball? With me roo-rum-rah, faddle-diddle-dar, whack, faddle-diddle with me roo-rum-rah. All foreign wars I do proclaim, live on blood and a mother's pain. I'd rather have my son as used to be than the king of America and his whole navy. With me roo rum rah, faddle diddle dar, whack, faddle diddle with me roo rum rah, with me roo rum rah, with me roo rum rah. So the lyrics not quite the same all the way through. We do apologise, and we don't really, just letting you know that we deliberately were singing something slightly different, and that's My Son John, also known as Mrs. McGrath, also known as Mrs. McGraw,
My
also
Son
known
Tim.
as My Son Tim, the Sergeant and Mrs. McGrath, Round 678, and do you know what? We look at the lyrics there, and we find out about the naval surgeon, the disablement officer, who was kind of suggesting that it was actually John or Tim or whatever his name was, his own fault for being in the way of the cannonball. And do you know what? Some things never change, do they? Hey, this guy gave his all, including 2 legs, for the British Army, and he came back, and they were trying to stiff him his disablement pay.
Probably tried to charge him for the sea boots that he'd lost as well.
Exactly, yeah, Wolfie.
Another naval song, On Board a 98. We're going to whip through this one. This, although it's 98 in reference, it's 49, so half that as the reference for the folder. If you're interested in this, it was sung to Vaughan Williams by Mr. Leatherday, among 4 others. He was an ex-sailor, and he lived in King's Lynn, Mr. Leatherday, and he sang this and 4 other songs on the 9th of January 1905 to Vaughan Williams.
I'm going to leave this one to Paul, actually.
When I was young and scarce 18, I drove a roaring trade, and many a sly trick I have played with many a pretty maid. My parents found that would not do, I soon would spend their store, so they resolved that I should go on board a man of war. A bold press gang surrounded me, their warrant they did show, and swore that I should go to sea and face the daring foe. So off they lugged me to the boat, oh how I cursed my fate. 'Twas then I found that I must float aboard a 98. When first I put my foot on board, how I began to stare. Our admiral, he gave the word, there is no time to spare. They weighed the anchor, shook out sail, and off they bore me straight to watch the foe in storm and gale on board a 98. Before we reached America, they gave me many drill. They soon learnt me a nimble way to hand an iron pill. In course of time a fight began, when bold Jack Tars laid straight. What would I give if I could run from on board a 98? But as time fled, I bolder grew, and hardened was to war. I'd run aloft with my ship's crew, and valued not a scar. So well I did my duty do, I soon made boatswain's mate, and Damney soon got boatswain too on board a 98. So years rode by at Trafalgar, bold Nelson fought and fell. As they capsized that hardy tar, I caught a rap as well. To Greenwich College I came back, because I saved my pate. They only knocked one wing off Jack on board a 98. So now my cocoa I can take my pout with bacca stored. With my blue clothes and 3-cocked hat, I'm happy as a lord. I've done my duty, served my king, and now I bless my fate. But damn me, I'm too old to sing, I'm nearly 98.
Well, lovely. So that was On Board a 98 by Paul, and many other versions available on YouTube. Many of them were definitely worth checking out. So look, I think, shall we get old Shawnee boy in?
Dear old Shawn, I'm just going to go to a couple of quick comments.
Okay, all right. Well, don't keep him waiting. Look, you know how he gets.
Oh, he's stamping his foot back there.
Yeah, he's always got a terrible temper on him.
So we have from Bill Lyman. Hi, fellas. I just sang my version of this song a couple of hours ago. My son John. Well, thank you very much, Bill, and hope yours went better than ours did.
I'd like to excuse ours as well, Bill, by saying that well, firstly, we don't have versions of songs. Rarely any song is sung twice in the same way. But would love to hear more of yours. And Bill, look, we want to get you on as a guest if ever you're available and willing to give the technology a go. We'd love to hear more about your exploits, and maybe even if you'd be up for singing a song and sharing with us. Get in touch with our page. Let us know.
Yeah, Michelle Gallagher says, liked the variations. There's always plenty of variations. Johnny Lowe, wow, Johnny gave that 8 rounds of applause. 9 whole rounds of applause.
I think that was because I liked Johnny's microphone. That's what it was.
Oh, yes. Well, that was the Singing Postman's microphone.
Yeah. This is a private conversation, but Johnny owns a wonderful old ribbon mic that was owned by the Singing Postman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Linda Boyce says, like that one. Thank you very much, Linda. I'm just going to go very quickly to our Suffolk word or phrase. This week, hey, you heard it, boy. It is Yalen or Yarlen. Either way,
Yarlen.
Please have a guess, because Rosemary Bowkett is the first and only person, second so far, to take a guess on it. She wonders if Yarlen is someone from Great Yarmouth, Norfolk. And what else was it? Yes, Linda Boyce says, is Yalen derivative of shouting or yelling? Well,
I think whether or not she's correct,
that's a very fine guess.
I think Linda's is my favourite guess.
Yeah, it's very good
guess at the moment. Yeah.
Anyway, Sean, give us a thumbs up if you're ready. There he is, giving it a thumbs up. Hello, Sean. How are you?
I'm there. Hello, welcome to my crib.
Yeah. How are you, Sean?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Stephen. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah. How's lockdown 1 and 2 been for you generally, and sort of the COVID world?
Well, to be honest with you, I've been working so much. I'm a support worker. I support a gentleman in Kessingland. So he needs to be looked after whether there's COVID about or not. So classed as a key worker, I go and do that 2 or 3 times a week for 24-hour shifts. Wow. So yeah, it has to be done. So I've carried on. Singing wise, obviously things along them lines have changed now.
Although you posted a lot of videos in the first lockdown, I remember you were quite prolific with putting songs up on YouTube.
I did start to, because I had a little bit of time. Yeah. And I did enjoy it. Obviously, I'm not very tech savvy, I'm afraid. So it's all the bare bones. But there we go. It worked to start with, and I had quite a few people watch to start with. But it's just been full on, looking after the gentleman I look after. We built an extension in the last lockdown, so who knows what we're going to do in this one.
Wow. Yeah, so
no pressure.
Not letting it get on top of you at all.
You've got to carry on, haven't we? British spirit.
And Sean, I know that you, because we have quite a few people listen from America and Canada. And am I right in saying that you, although you were born in England, you kind of grew up a lot for a lot of your youth in America?
I did, yes. I moved over there when I was 9, and I did I was in Apple Valley Junior High and high school. And in a junior high, they did like an aptitude test of what sort of job would you be doing or would be suited to you when you grow up. And I never knew what I wanted to do. I took this aptitude test, bearing in mind I was living in the Mojave Desert, middle of nowhere, Mojave Desert. My test results came back and said, you should be a fisherman. Okay, so I didn't really know where that came from or why, but going back to my roots, my family are from the beach village, and so it's in the blood, and obviously it must still be in there somewhere.
Yeah, and so let's unpack that a little bit, because we've talked a bit about the beach village before, and there's some wonderful stuff online and books that are available to order, not least the Grit book by Jack Rose and Dean Parkin, but because there are people further afield than just our native Suffolk. We'll just really quickly talk a bit about it, and anything I get wrong or miss, Sean can mop up. But the beach village, which was also known as the Grit or just the beach, was a community of fishermen and their families and people who worked in the supporting industries and infrastructures that supported this entire village. They had their own pubs, their own greengrocers, their own barbers, their own funeral makers, their their own several churches, in fact, including a couple of Bethels and worship houses. And at the height of I'm going to say the popularity, but the height of most people living there, it was an extremely cramped place, and it was at the extreme east of Lowestoft. It was sometimes called the town below the cliff because it was at the bottom of the cliff. And the people who lived on the beach village, the Grit, they were kind of considered to be maybe slightly curious folk or eccentric. They didn't often mix with the rest of the town.
Carried on.
Yeah, and the only time often they left Lowestoft was to go out to sea for many of them. But the popularity and the busyness and the population of the beach village was inextricably tied up with the height of the boom of the fishing industry in Lowestoft. Two big things were kind of instrumental in that. One was in 1837, Samuel Morton Peto opened up or lobbied Parliament to grant Lowestoft the status of port town. So it no longer was a harbour, but a port, which meant it could catch increased shipments of fish. And then 5 years after that, 1842, same guy, Sir Samuel Morton Peto, was instrumental in opening up the train lines to Reedham, which importantly meant that for fresh fish from Lowestoft could go to Reedham, to Norwich, to Birmingham, to Manchester, to Liverpool, to London. And so suddenly we could catch lots more fish in Lowestoft, and it could go many more places. And so fishermen re-recruited, granddads who'd retired were brought back in, boys were recruited even earlier, and the beach village was absolutely booming, bustling place until a couple of huge floods kind of destroyed many of the cottages and houses. Some weren't even that really. Some, I mean, there were sometimes, we know through census research, Paul and I have proof that our family lived down on the beach village. We know through census research that sometimes there was a 1 or 2 bedroom fisherman's cottage. So you're talking about 5.5, 6 foot ceilings, and they would have in these 1 or 2 bedroom cottages, they would have 9 people living there. And sometimes on some of the censuses, they also had Scottish fisher gal boarding with them too. So they were cramped beyond belief.
We found one that was 13 inhabitants.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So so that was the beach village, and it seems like between us, the three of us, we have family that we trace there. But Sean has actually written I love this song, a song called The Grit, and you joined us on one of our Shanty Chorus shows to perform that. It was extremely popular, not just with our audience, but also the members of our choir. And so we've asked you if you'd come on and give that a whiz. So would that be all right, Sean?
That'd be fine. Do you want me to do that one now?
Right.
Yeah, going back to the...
Yeah, add any intro to it or anything I've missed, won't you?
Yeah, no. Apparently, my great nanny Ivor May Ellis, she used to be a wet nurse down on the beach village. Apparently, she was quite a busty lady. So you never know. There's people here that could have thrived because of our family, and she had grit. She actually went and lobbied Parliament. This is going back nearly 100 years, about getting her widow's pension, because my great granddad suffered from shell shock from the war, and that. So the people of the beach village, they had grit. Not only did they live on the beach, which was grit, they had grit. And this song is just something, I don't know where it came from. It just is in the blood. So I'll play it for you, and hopefully that'll be all right. I haven't played it for ages, but it's here. So I'd love to sing it. In a town below a cliff, it's a place I used to live. I'm up early, the rain came down, as I made my way through town, took a walk down Angry Street, for to board my destiny, to make a living from the sea, at the age just 10 and 3. And as I wandered through the town, we sang a tune, hey, that was handed down, 'cause I'm not alone. I wonder when I'm back at my village on the beach. 100 drifters would hide in dock, among the bustle my trawling smack. The tide was high, so we headed east, 'cause I'm a cabin boy at sea. Early morning, freezing cold, 'tis my duty, I've been told, from those streets so dimly lit, from a town they call the Grit. And as we sailed towards the sun, I know our journey has just begun, 'cause I'm leaving home. I pray I make it back to my village on the beach. Work was hard, the days were long, as we trawled, we drifted on. Up on deck, will you just bear and grin, even though we couldn't swim. In them days there in the past, we always knew that it wouldn't last. Our drifters were losing out to steam, our days are numbered on this sea. And as we sailed, we sang the songs, the ones our fathers, they passed along. We're miles from home. How I long to be in my village on the beach. A week to 10, we've been away. I miss home more and more each day. From a boy into a man, a stuff below 100 grand. A silver darlings, you made me, and you fed our families. So once more, when we're homeward bound, hey, I can't wait to hear the sound. As Lowestoft Harbor, it comes into view. 1,000 voices, they sing this tune. Hey, they're coming home. What a welcome back to my village on the beach. And as I head down Rantscore East, I take a walk through Wild Street, past the pub, the rising sun. All us gritsters, we are as one. A town long since swept away by a tide that we can't delay. If my descendants sing this song, then my spirit lingers on. And as we sailed upon the seas, our voices joined, they joined in harmonies. Our town was united, Hey, we were all as one. Let's raise a glass for everyone. How it was before. How I'd love to be in my village called the Grit.
Oh, I love that little rundown at the end, especially Sean. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, love to hear some comments to what people think about that. I know what they'd be. That everyone would absolutely love it. But I'm just gonna mention, because I didn't know this, but we checked it out, researched it for another reference of cran, and cran is actually a term. I thought it was a universal world term, but it's actually a term that was peculiar to the North Sea fishing industry. And it obviously refers to a measurement of fish. Usually it's around, I think it was like 40 gallons, 38 gallons, something like that, which is usually about 1,000 fish. But it was a term that was really only used along the east coast, from Lowestoft up towards Scotland, which but anyway,
I didn't know that. I didn't know
well,
that. I knew it was a weight, a measurement of fish. So
yeah,
a cran of fish.
Sorry, volume rather than
weight.
I beg your pardon. Paul's corrected me, as he often does. Well, thank you, Sean. Let's do a couple of comments. Sue Day says, "Lovely to hear such a local song. Congrats to Sean." There you go. Well,
hey, I've got a couple more for another day. So
we'll get you on next time then, Sean.
Get the thumbs up, and I've got some more.
Yeah. Janice Mardram says, "Hurrah!" with a double exclamation mark.
Gotcha.
And Jackie Draper says, "Lovely to hear Sean again." Yeah, absolutely, it is, isn't it?
And see him.
Yeah. See here in all his audio-visual glory. So I was kind of ruminating recently on how good folk music is like this live is like anyone doing a live stream, like digital content, because you need a clear message, you need strong content, and you need a call to action. And those are the three things that any kind of digital marketing person would tell you need. And when you think about it, great folk music has that in. And I think that that song that you just wrote had all three of those in. And you might say, well, call to action, but it does, because it harks back to kind of celebrating Lowestoft as a fishing town, and I think we can say this because Paul and I are Lowestoft boys, although we don't live there now. But I think Lowestoft gets a lot of bashing. A lot of people, it's an easy target for a lot of people to complain about, or kind of put the boot in or screw it down. But actually, the whole idea of our wider project, and the chorus in particular, is to celebrate actually what Lowestoft has done, and really it was a world leader along with its neighbour Great Yarmouth in fishing. Certainly from the Middle Ages right through to it was only two big floods and the two world wars, along with declining fish population, that kind of meant that we were no longer able to fish as a town as we once did. But for those many centuries, we boy did Lowestoft people eat a lot of fish and share it to people wider afield.
It should be said, not in this country, but that they have found evidence of the first settlements in civilization of this world have been found to be fishing civilizations, fishing settlements.
Right up at Patefield Cliffs, they found them, didn't they? They found some really early stuff. I mean, and music-wise, I was thinking of these are special times at the moment. These are COVID times, and we can't. I mean, normally I would be out doing tinsel and turkey celebrations for coach parties in hotels. They're gone now. It's back to square one, and I was ready to go busking, and then we started lockdown number 2. But you have relatives and that need somebody to come and say hello. I'm ready to go busking. I'm ready to go sit on the doorstep or in the garden, and I can say hello, sing 1 or 2 songs, and I do that locally. Obviously, I can't go to Canada or America, but But there, there is a need for that. Things are different now, so we have to think outside the box. And what you guys are doing is great. You've got a lovely little group together there, and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you, Sean. Bless you.
Couple of quick comments. Stanley Hardman gives 3 rounds of applause. Linda Boyce says, great song. Thank you, Sean. Marion Bouchette, wonderful song and 3 rounds of applause. And Janice Marjoram says, I knew that about Cran. Our granddad would tell us about how many Cran they'd land. Joe Walpole says, lovely to hear a song about our local area.
Maybe
a bit biased there. Sorry. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah. And Michelle Gallagher says, thanks, Sean. I just wondered, how long did it take to write that song?
Well, that's a good question.
Oh, it was really quick. It was in another job I was doing, working in a golf course in a little hut, and it was a rainy day, so I had no customers. And it didn't take long at all. It was really quick, like a few hours.
Yeah.
Linda Boyce says, I think a crown was a basket of fish. This song made me think of time spent watching my dad sailing into the harbour after 3 months drifter fishing. So very evocative.
Lovely. That's lovely.
And the I can't remember who said it, but someone said that the best songs are actually memory creators or reminiscence invokers.
That's nice.
Which obviously your song was, Linda there, just thinking about, and I can actually picture that scene in my mind's eye as well with your song as a soundtrack. Yeah, lovely. Well, so Sean, I wonder if we could. I think I threw you a curveball by asking you to do that song first, because Paul said, "Oh no, I didn't. I had asked him to do another one first, and that's why
make a difference to me.
But, I wonder if you'd. I wonder if you'd be willing to share another song.
Do you want me to do another one?
Would you?
I've got loads to do here. I've got loads I could do. Shall I do? Should we do Shoulder Heron? Is that the one?
Oh, yes,
that'd be a lovely one to do. The Ewan McCall, not particularly traditional, but very a traditional song in theme.
Yeah. We'll leave it to you, Sean. The floor is yours, as they say.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I mean, there is some lovely harmonies to this as well, so you could sing along at home if you wanted. If not, we'll just see what happens, shall we? With our nets and gear, we're faring on the wild and wakeful ocean. It's there in the deep that we harvest and reap our bread, as we hunt the bonny shoals of heron. Oh, it was a fine and a pleasant day. Out of Lowestoft Harbour we were faring, as a cabin boy on a sailing lugger, or to go and hunt the shoals of heron. Oh, the work was hard and the hours were long, and our treatment sure it took some bearing. There was little kindness and the kicks were many, as we hunted for the shoals of heron. Oh, we fished the swarth and the broken bank. I'd a cook and I'd a quarter sharing, and I used to sleep standing on my feet, and I dream about the shoals of heron. Oh, we left the home grounds in the month of June, and to Kenny Shields we soon were bearing, with 100 cran of the silver darlings that we taken from the shoals of heron. Now you're up on deck, you're a fisherman, you can swear and show a manly bearing. Take your turn on watch with the other fellows, while you're searching for the shoals of heron. In the stormy seas and the living gales, just to earn your daily bread you're daring, from the Dover Straits to the Faroe Islands, as you're following the shoals of Erin. Oh, I earned my keep and I paid my way, and I earned the gear that I was wearing. Sailed 1,000,000 miles, caught 10 million fishes. We were sailing after shoals of Erin. Night and day we're faring. Come winter wind, oh winter gale, sweating or cold, growing up, growing old and dying, as you hunt the bonny shoals of Erin.
Well, thank you, Sean. Paul's just popping me back on screen. Lovely. I love that. We've heard you sing that several times before, and Sean often comes along and sings with when in the pre-COVID days, would sing with us with our group, the Rogue Shanty Boys, and yeah, we've heard him do that several times, and I particularly love his version. I'm just going to actually because I love this. We were donated. Well, before I mention that, for anyone who doesn't know, that was a song that was written by Ewan McCall, and it was written by his admission to bolster the script of BBC archival recording made to make an archive recording of the legacy of the fishing industry. And it was a BBC broadcast called Singing the Fishing, which was led by Ewan McCall and with musical arrangements by Peggy Seeger. And we were donated an actual transcript of the BBC recording there, which was a wonderful thing, because there was a Lowestoft gentleman who, and I don't think he made the final cut, sadly, but there was a Lowestoft fisherman and gentleman who was recorded for
I think he did. He was on it.
Yeah, actually, he was on the.
He was one of the background singers. He wasn't a soloist.
He's on the broadcast, but we were donated by I think maybe his granddaughter. Both the script and the accompanying letter, and the letter is lovely. It says, I enclose for your interest a copy of the production script Singing the Fishing, for which we made recordings of you earlier this year. I do hope that you approve of the use we have made of these recordings and of the general treatment we have given herring fishing. The program. You're
not going to give it a BBC dialect.
The programme has come together extremely well and is being broadcast in BBC Home Service on Tuesday, 16th August, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. So, and the letter carries on. But
the 30th of June, 1960.
Exactly, yeah. Lovely piece of archival history, but local history as well. And that song, Ewan McCall put together for the recording, just to kind of pack out some of the actual traditional songs. But it's actually been passed into general belief that it is a traditional song, and in fact Steve Roud included it on the Roud Folk Index. So I think there can be no finer kind of endorsement than making it into the Roud Folk Index.
And I was proud and pleased to sing it for you guys. Lovely.
Just before you head off, Sean, a couple more comments. Hazel Rumble says, great song, Sean. That's in reference to your song, The Grit. Sally takes up the mantle of your invitation of harmonies, and she says, I'm on it. And believe me, she is on it.
Good.
Joy says, one of my favorites. Carly Frank, 3 rounds of applause. Martha Knox Forrester, she says, great song. Sally Hardman gives you 3 rounds of applause as well. Maureen Meadows says, evening, everyone. Great songs, Sean. Michelle Gallagher, another 3 rounds of applause. And Chris Collins says, love that. A real treat. Thanks, Sean.
Hey, thank you for them lovely comments, everybody. That's great. Thank you very much.
And just a reminder that Sean is a local guy to Lowestoft. For anyone who hasn't been watching the whole of the session with him in it, so I know some of those people commenting aren't necessarily members of ours, but they are local, and so you may well one day get the chance to hear Sean performing live. And if you do,
yes, anytime,
take it up, won't you? Or as he's mentioned, it may be busking too.
Yeah.
So, well, Sean, you said you got some other songs. Maybe we could arrange for you to come back on sometime by popular demand. Would that be all right?
Yes, please. So if everybody keep mentioning, type it down there. Yeah, I'll come back as soon as you need me. All right.
Get him back. Yeah, we will absolutely. Well, Sean, thank you. Listen, thanks for coming on, and good to see you. Definitely, I haven't seen you in too long, and
Been a long time.
Need to hear you. Thank you.
Take care, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, so Sean Warboys, local singer-songwriter, all-round sterling gent, and erstwhile performer with Paul and I now and again, and just did a guest spot for us because we asked him, but we haven't had a guest on for a wee while. So thank you, Sean, for that. And particularly, we wanted him to sing his song "The Grit" because we love it, and we'd love more people to hear about it, which they have now. But also, he treated us to a great rendition of "Shoals of Herring" by Ewan McCall. So there you have it, Sean Warboys, and maybe we'll do a song now, shall we?
Yeah, and
I don't want to follow it really, but
talking of War Boys War, let's go for A Drop of Nelson's Blood.
So
Number 2 in your folder if you have one. If you don't worry, they'll be bringing the lyrics up on screen for you very shortly.
And this is in connection to tomorrow's Remembrance Day, and we've just deliberately chosen a few naval songs or naval ballads to share with you. So sing along from your folders or from the lyrics on screen. And a drop of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm, and a drop of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm, and a drop of Nelson's blood wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind. Come on, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind.
And a plate of Irish stew wouldn't do us any harm, and a plate of Irish stew wouldn't do us any harm, and a plate of Irish stew wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind.
Come on,
We'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind.
And a good run ashore wouldn't do us any harm, and a good run ashore wouldn't do us any harm, and a good run ashore wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind. Come on, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind.
And a big fat bosun wouldn't do us any harm, and a big fat bosun wouldn't do us any harm, and a big fat bosun wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind.
Come on, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind. And a roll in the clover wouldn't do us any harm, and a roll in the clover wouldn't do us any harm, and a roll in the clover wouldn't do us any harm, and we'll all hang on behind.
Come on, we'll
Roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind.
And if you want to do it, don't you do it against the wall. And if you want to do it, don't you do it against the wall. If you want to do it, don't you do it against the wall. And we'll all hang on behind. Come on, we're gonna roll the old chariot along, we'll roll the old chariot along, we'll roll
the old chariot along, and we'll all hang on behind.
And a pint from the landlord wouldn't do us any harm. And a
Pint from the landlord
wouldn't
do us any harm.
And a
Pint from the landlord wouldn't do us any harm.
And we'll all hang on behind.
We'll roll
the old, we'll roll
chariot along.
We'll roll
We're gonna
the
roll
old
that silly chariot along.
We'll roll,
We're
roll.
gonna roll the chariot along,
And we'll all hang on
behind.
Okay, drop of Nelson's blood. We'll roll the old chariot along. And
We chatted to you about what that was all about last time, so just go back and have a good look at our last episode if you'd like to know some of the history of that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I guess, does it need pointing out that when they sing "wouldn't do us any harm," they mean that would be blinking
That'd be
marvelous?
lovely.
Yeah.
God,
And in
that'd
fact,
be good
picking
fun.
up on that, Bill Lyman says, "Well, a night at the dock wouldn't do me any harm." You've been out at sea.
If you should, quite a detailed explanation of where he's been, and if you scroll up.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Yeah,
I'll check that out later.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's worth a look.
Linda Boyce, 4 claps, and Chris Collins says, "Love listening to you guys. The harmonies." Well, thank you very much.
Say
5 claps.
awful.
No, harmonies are
awesome.
awesome. Harmonies are awesome. Thank you very much, Chris. And Marie says, "Love that song." Yeah, we love that song too. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And it's one of the oldest ones in our repertoire. We're up to 64, 65 songs in our repertoire that we've been learning over the last 5 years, and that's number 2.
Yeah.
So not too difficult, not too different really from that. Certainly the chords would fit underneath, and in fact we've done this song underneath the last song. But this next song is, they say, as old as God. Certainly, if anyone who isn't particularly au fait with sea shanties or maritime music is asked to name a sea shanty, they're always going to say this one, always. And this version is based on an arrangement that was put together by Paul. This is Paul. I'm Stephen. And we do it with our shanty chorus. And I think there's an equal amount of people who begrudgingly love this and find very difficult the arrangement. So, but we're going to give it to you. And please bear in mind that normally there will be 4 sections of people singing this. So there's only 2 of us, so we can't do that. But we'll give it some kind of go.
What shall we do?
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 What shall we do? What shall we do?
What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do?
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 What shall we do? What shall we do? What shall we do?
What shall we do with a drunken sailor?
Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up
she rises.
Hooray, and up she rises in the morning. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor?
Early in the morning.
Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up she rises early in the morning. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning.
So, well, that was a quick one, wasn't it? My gosh. Paul, I think, is going to look for the comment from Bill, which says, yeah, there you go. Yesterday, I moved south to Jacksonville, Florida, in order to try to get a safe place from the storm. I am at a free dock. It has both fresh water and electricity. Very rare for me. Laundry done and charging the batteries. Hot water. Well, my gosh, what a life, Bill.
He also says, put him in a dress and call him Sally.
Yeah.
And
good.
Along those lines, Marion Bouchette adds, an ending to this lockdown wouldn't do us any harm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to pop back now to an hour. Hey, you heard that day. And courtesy.
That sounded like Bill Pertwee. Anyway, how you heard it, Billy, this week, which comes from this book,
Yeah, which is Suffolk Words and Phrases by Edward Moore, printed originally 1823. And dear old Edward Moore, he went off to service in India, and when he came back, he kind of felt many of the words that were often used, which were peculiar to Suffolk, seemed to be not happening quite so much, or were in decline. And so he felt that he didn't want to lose these very important words and heritage and culture of Suffolk. And so he started quite a long work, really, to document some of these words, so that they could either continue to be used or would be referenced somewhere. And actually, this is considered to be quite an important etymological work, Suffolk Words and Phrases. And we pick a word every week, and we deliberately choose one that we think is not still in popular usage. And many are, maybe in no small part down to the efforts of dear old Edward Moore. But we ask you to have a guess at what they might mean. And as Paul popped up on the screen there, this week's word is Yalen, or Yarlen, or Yalen, one or the other. That's not quite so important as what it means. So let us know what you think it might mean. We've had a few guesses, but not many. So we'd love to hear some more. Anyway, look, I think I wonder if
We've only got a couple of songs left to try.
We should do one of Paul's.
If you like.
Yeah.
Let's
swap places, because why don't we try and play this? Now, this is a song Paul actually wrote a long time ago. And he wrote it. I mean, I assume he wrote it. I've never asked him, but
I didn't. I just copied it wholesale.
Yeah, lyrically, I assumed he wrote it for the wonderful sacrifice that people give others when they fight in war and conflict and pay the ultimate price. We actually released it, or we gifted it to a charity many years ago, and as a fundraiser for them, a war charity, and it's a song called Scarlet Fields. The lyrics?
I think so.
I guess you do.
Not always, but I think it'll be all right.
Okay. But yeah, so this is Scarlet Fields, and it's a original song of Paul's. Just tell me when we go to the bridge each time, will you?
You can go to carry 3.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take it
there. In scarlet fields my brother lies. He feels no pain, he hears no cries, sees only endless Belgian skies in scarlet fields of old. In scarlet fields we paid the price, Europe's sons immortalized. We made a heavy sacrifice in scarlet fields of old. The day begins, I shall remember them. The sun goes down and I shall again. Time will never weary them as it wearies me. And so I stand in silent praise on this most grim of winter days, and hark, a lonely trumpet plays, scarlet fields of old. The day begins, I shall remember them. The sun goes down and I shall again. Oh, time may never weary them as it wearies me. And so I ask the world again to think on those who fell for them, and pray we never send our men to scarlet fields of old, to scarlet fields of old, to scarlet fields of old.
Yeah, I love that song. We haven't done that for years.
I haven't even heard it, actually.
No, we haven't done that. I think since the recording, years and years and years ago. Scarlett Fields, one of Paul's. Love to know if you enjoyed, and that's our little
Commemorative tribute.
Yeah, I say little. That sounds really patronising, but that's our effort as a commemoration to men and women and animals in all countries that paid the ultimate price within conflict or war.
You can still purchase it, I think, online.
Yeah, you can, absolutely. Yeah. So let's.
A comment from Chris Collins, who says, Yarlin, could it be gobbing off or gorbing off?
Yeah,
as we say in the dialect. Now, Bill Lyman says, drunken sailor, a walking shanty used in the doldrums for running a line under the boat to try to scrape the barnacles and grass from the bottom.
That sounds awfully like keel hauling.
Yeah, well, it is, just without the person being keel hauled. Michelle Gallagher says, I love singing this with the Rogues, which must be the last one, whatever that was.
Drop Nelson's Blurred.
Was it?
I don't know, something. Yeah.
Bill Lyman says, thanks. You're welcome, Bill. And Martha Knox Forrester gave some round of applause and a peace sign, which is lovely. We should remember that poppies aren't always red. Sometimes they're white.
Absolutely. Yeah. So look, we're coming towards the end. I think we've got time for one more, but we must not forget, because you tell us off if we do, we must not forget what the word Yarlin means.
Well, there's a few things we must not forget, but I wonder if people were right with Yarlin. We had a few guesses, but this is what it actually means.
Yarlin is crying or fretting. So there you go, Linda Boyce, you were correct. Like a sick or pained child, to yell, to cry out hideously, to howl. So not just crying or fretting, but to have a sforzando, Italian term for burst, cry out hideously, to howl, and they got it. So I think Linda Boyce won that, but as we say, you don't win anything.
Never a prize. It's just the credit from your peers, the appreciation. Another thing we mustn't forget is to thank one more time People's Health Trust. They fund us and have done for well over a year through the Active Communities program. That's enabled us to work with people from 2 years old to 90 years young, of all kinds of ability and all walks of life, whether they've already been accomplished musicians and singers, or perhaps they're just starting to explore their love of music, and in particular sea shanties. So we thank them very much. We also must mention, because if we don't, the Rogue Shanty Chorus that look a little bit like this on a good day, they tell us off for this as well. If we don't mention that, although we are funded through the People's Health Trust, we also take very gratefully and graciously take donations. If you would like to make a donation that will go directly towards keeping the Rogue Shanty Chorus singing, you can do so at the address paypal.me/online choir. And as I say, that money, if you would wish to make a donation at this time, would go directly towards the Rogue Shanty Chorus and would be very gratefully received. We know that money's tight for everybody at the moment, so if you're not able to make a donation, that's absolutely fine. One thing you could do, though, is to click share on these broadcasts, these live streams, to let your friends and family and anyone that follows you on Facebook, to let them know what you've been up to and what you've enjoyed, and if you've enjoyed it.
So yeah, absolutely. It costs you nothing to click share, and we really appreciate it. What we don't want you to feel like you're doing is spamming all your friends and people on your Facebook and everything, but we really appreciate that you tune in to celebrate not just local, really, but intercultural heritage and music. And if you feel like that there are people who might also enjoy that, then we'd be really grateful for you to click share. So thank you very much. So look, we've probably just got time, and then we might finish on time for once, possibly even a minute or two early. We've got time for one more song. Before that, we're just going to remind you that because we're not physically rehearsing now, we managed to get 2 in, and we were all sorted out to do it safely, responsibly, respecting COVID compliant measures, and with a fully robust and thorough risk assessment in place. But no one in the UK can do very much at all now. apart from shopping. So so we had to cancel our physical rehearsals. We hope that they will recommence at some point. But for now, as we have done for the longest time, Billy Joel said, we're going to continue to broadcast on a Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Your place, my place, everyone else's place. Tune in from there. And next Monday, we've got Ivan Bunn back with us, and
It's Ivan Bunn back.
he will be broadcasting I think it's the 20th.
Yeah.
He'll be broadcasting the 20th Lowestoft History Sessions. We had a couple of people say, is Ivan okay? Ivan's fine. He was due possibly to do a broadcast yesterday, but he couldn't make it. And that was only because he just had some, I think, some workmen in or near his house, and it was causing some disruption, maybe to the Wi-Fi or something. I don't quite know, but he's fine as far as we're aware. He's fully fine, and he'll be with us next Monday. Okay, so normal time. So next Monday, Ivan, 7:30 p.m. Next Tuesday, us too, 7:30 p.m. But thank you very much for tuning in, and we're going to leave you with one of the ultimate naval songs, and that is Don't Forget Your Old Shipmate.
Now, this is number 27 in your folders, and whenever we sing this, we stifle back a couple of tears for 4 lovely people that we've lost along the way, and those 4 shipmates especially, we do not forget at any time.
No. Safe and sound at home again, let the waters roar, Jack, and we'll sing with glad refrain. Let the chorus soar, Jack. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. Since we sailed from Plymouth Sound, 4 years on, Jack, was there ever chummies now, such as you and I, Jack? Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. We have worked the self-same gun, quarter-deck division, spun your eye and loader you through the whole commission. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. Oftentimes have we laid out, toil nor danger fearing, hauling out the flapping sail to the weather rearing. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. When the middle watch was on, and the time went slow, boy, who could tune a rousing stave? Who like Jack or Joe, boy? Long we've tossed the rolling main, now safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. There she swings an empty hulk, not a soul below now. Number 7, starboard mast, Mrs. Jack and Joe now. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. But the best of friends must part, fair or foul the weather. Hand your flipper for a shake, now a drink together. Long we've tossed on the rolling main, now we're safe ashore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate, folly, rolly, 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 ride-o. Long we've we've tossed on the rolling main.
Now we're safe for shore, Jack. Don't forget your old shipmate. Folly, rolly, 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 ride. Oh.
Thank you very much. Next Monday we're here with Ivan. One of us will be, and next Tuesday we're here with. Well, I'm here with him. He's here with me. And in the meantime, we're going to pop some credits up with the Roud Folk Index numbers of all the songs that we've done this evening. So thank you very much.
And a big thank you to our guest tonight, Sean Warboys.
Absolutely, Sean Warboys. Thank you very much, Sean, and hope to see you again soon. We'll ask you back.